PS Plus subscribers have known that big changes were coming in June, with the merging of PS Plus and PS Now into PS Plus Essential, PS Plus Extra, and PS Plus Premium, or Deluxe, in some locations. PS Plus Extra gets fans an expanded collection of PS4 and PS5 titles, while PS Plus Premium gives players access to a catalog of PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS3 games. Many have been curious as to what exactly Sony would add to each of these, and now less than a full month from its launch, Sony has pulled back the curtain on some games coming to PS Plus new tier system. Sony hasn't confirmed the PS Plus free games for June 2022 yet, but is expected to on June 1st, the last Wednesday before the first Tuesday of June. For PS Plus Extra and Output though, here are all the PS Plus PS4 and PS5 games it can confirm right now. Furthermore, PS Plus Premium users will get classic PS1, PS2, and PSP games with improved frame rates and higher quality resolution, including new options on PS1 and PSP games like a user interface to save these games at any time. Some of these additions will also be the remastered versions of these classics, and while Sony mentions that this is an early look at the coming games, it does look quite impressive. PS Plus Premium users will also get access to 2-hour trials on select games, with more being added as time moves on. At launch, the following first and third-party games will have 2-hour trials on PS Plus are Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, Horizon Forbidden West, Cyberpunk 2077, Farming Simulator 22, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and WWE 2K22. Sony also confirms that PS Plus Essential games will continue to see new games added on the first Tuesday of every month, while introducing a new monthly refresh. There will now be a second every month, about halfway through, where subscribers get new games at the PS Plus Extra and Premium tiers, though the number of games refreshed will vary per month. When PS Plus Premium launches, subscribers can check out classic PlayStation games like Ape Escape, Hot Shots Golf, IQ Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Mr. Driller, Siphon Filter, Tekken 2, Worms Armageddon, and Worms World Party. On the PSP side of things, the only game confirmed so far is Super Stardust Portable. More classic PS1 and PSP games will be revealed for PS Plus Premium at a later date, and it will definitely be interesting to see what's on offer. In the meantime, Sony has confirmed other features that retro gaming fans can utilize when PS Plus Premium launches next month. According to Sony, some of the classic PS1 and PSP games will run better on PS Plus Premium than they did on the original PlayStation and PlayStation Portable consoles. What this means is that fans can look forward to better frame rates and higher resolution retro games. Not only that, some of the PS1 and PSP games will also have a brand new UI that gives players extra tools to make the retro gaming experience a little easier. Simply put, there are some mechanics in retro games that have not aged well, like obnoxiously spaced checkpoints and cheap deaths. Select PS1 and PSP games will give PS Plus Premium subscribers the option to save their games whenever they want, and beyond that, they will also be able to rewind the games as well. We can also download these retro games for free if we already own them, without the requirement of PlayStation Plus. Ben Studio has revealed that PlayStation Trophy support will be added to Siphon Filter when the all-new PlayStation Plus subscription launches. Agency Intel reports that Siphon Filter will include trophies when it arrives on the all-new PlayStation Plus, Ben Studio tweeted out, with a video of a trophy unlocking along with the familiar audio. It seems like one of the trophies will be called an Explosive Start, and it appears to be a silver-level trophy. It's unclear right now whether this means that every original PlayStation title in the premium tier will receive trophy support or it will be on a case-by-case basis. Ben Studio is a first-party PlayStation developer, so Sony certainly has more say on what to do with its own games. There are third-party original PlayStation games on the service such as Tekken 2 and Mr. Driller, and whether they get trophy support as well is up in the air. As of right now, Siphon Filter is the only game confirmed that will have this capability. Notably, PSP games didn't have trophy support, and Super Stardust Portable is listed on the premium tier. Its developer, Housemarque, was acquired by Sony last year and is now a first-party studio. So hopefully, this functionality could be extended to PSP games as well. Ubisoft Plus is coming to PlayStation as a new service called Ubisoft Plus Classics. It will be included as a part of PlayStation Plus Extra and PlayStation Plus Premium and will come with the standard edition of select Ubisoft titles. Ubisoft Plus members get access to the Ultimate Edition of all Ubisoft games on release, so Ubisoft Plus Classics looks like a tier below that. At launch, users can play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 4, The Crew 2, South Park: The Fractured But Whole, and other Ubisoft games at no extra cost. In a press release, Ubisoft states that 27 games will be available on launch, and the list will grow to 50 by the end of the year. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is arguably the biggest game on this list, but it's surprising not to see the Prince of Persia games, Far Cry 5 or Watch Dogs 2. Perhaps these titles will get added later in the year as Ubisoft has a massive catalog of games to choose from. Ubisoft mentions that Ubisoft Plus Classics is just the beginning, and it plans to ultimately bring Ubisoft Plus to PlayStation and Xbox. However, it's unlikely that Ubisoft will include the full version of the service as a part of PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass. For reference, Ubisoft Plus costs $15 a month on PC, more than the monthly cost of a PS Plus premium annual subscription. Aside from Ubisoft Plus Classics, the catalog of games offered as a part of PS Plus Extra and Premium has some other noteworthy surprises. Sony confirms that subscribers will get to play the likes of Returnal, the 2 Director's Cuts, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the Demon's Souls remake, and Red Dead Redemption 2 at no extra charge, with a refresh occurring every month. Sony recently revealed some of the games coming to the service at launch, but the keyword is some. Many have found this launch list to be lackluster, and there are some notable missing games from the PS Plus Premium list. There's not much in the way of the PSP to begin with, but some games like Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core absolutely belong on PS Plus Premium. Yet, Sony did not show its entire hand. It's worth keeping in mind that PS Plus Premium's release date is still a few weeks away, and Sony will likely show more as it gets closer, still saving some surprises for launch. Many wanted to show the entire PS Plus Premium games list, and while that would make sense and make many happy, it did not or could not for one reason or another. Still, for those new to PS5 or the greater PlayStation ecosystem, this is still a great subscription service. What's noteworthy is how small of a sampling this seems to be. There are crudely 120 games confirmed for the new PS Plus tiers, and Sony's original language suggested there would be a total of 700 games available to PS Plus Premium users. That means there's still a lot more to reveal and a lot more at launch. It is possible that the total number doesn't necessarily hit that mark, but it's likely to all the same. In other words, the current games are the tip of the iceberg and there's plenty still currently unseen. There are a lot of games missing like the God of War Greek Collection, Killzone and Resistance games, Ratchet Collection, Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Crash, Spyro, Metal Gear, Silent Hill, Castlevania, and much more from the initial list. It will be likely revealed in a couple of weeks. We also have a patent that is alluding to PS3 games to be downloadable soon. To top this off, it won't be a stagnant collection of games like PS Plus Collection either. Sony confirmed that the PS Plus free games reveal will still take place at the same time, but that new games will be revealed for the higher tiers at the middle of every month. So fans can expect their subscription to change every month, likely incentivizing them not to downgrade or cancel once they've played the games they wanted. A document dated April 18 suggests that games developed by Polish studio Bloober Team could be added to PS Plus Extra. The paper notes a significant license and distribution agreement with Sony Interactive Entertainment, and the rumor suggests that select Bloober Team games will be a part of a new distribution service. If this rumor turns out to be accurate, fans can expect some Bloober Team games to be a part of the PS Plus Extra and Premium tiers. The studio is known for making horror games like The Medium, Layers of Fear, and Observer, and they should be great additions to the catalog of games offered by Sony. A leak suggested that Bloober Team was working on a new Silent Hill game, but the developer had denied reports of this rumor in the summer of last year. Now we have an update on that, which we will discuss down the road. Sony has also not yet revealed how game trials will work for PS Plus Premium subscribers. A recent report suggested that all games priced at $34 or higher will need to offer users a 2-hour trial within 3 months of their launch. It could potentially be a big incentive for users to subscribe to PS Plus Premium, and Sony will hopefully share more details about the service in the coming days. At the moment, it isn't clear what's happening with Silent Hill. This long-running horror series was one of Konami's biggest gaming franchises, standing alongside the likes of Castlevania, Contra, Metal Gear, and Bomberman. Having made its debut on the PlayStation 1, Silent Hill is known for its highly effective psychological horror and impressive visuals. Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 are considered the series' peak, while Silent Hill 4 and Silent Hill Shattered Memories garnered some fans of their own. The franchise struggled to innovate after its original team went elsewhere, and many entries after Silent Hill 4 are not viewed favorably. That downward spiral seems to have reached its bottom in the modern era. After a dream team consisting of Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, and Norman Reedus were revealed to be working on a soft reboot titled Silent Hills, fans thought that Silent Hill was back. Unfortunately, this immediately preceded Kojima's firing from Konami, and the project, along with the beloved PT demo that announced it, were scrapped. Silent Hill was relegated to crossover content and pachinko advertising for the next few years. Something is happening over at Konami, however. There are compounding reports that Konami has put its franchises up for grabs, and several developers have already begun their own takes on Silent Hill. Silent Hill rumors have been circulating for years, but they recently got a major boost. Leaker Dusk Golem came out on Twitter on May 12 with several concept images for a Silent Hill project, which were promptly taken down by copyright. This all but confirmed these details and gave credibility to the information that was leaked. Supposedly, these pictures are representative of an older version of the game, possibly one from 2020, but the title was still in development as of October 2021. Depicting garbage-filled rooms and a strange alleyway and figure apparently made of sticky notes, these serve as a surreal counterpart to the image that simply shows a bespectacled girl. The final picture in the set of 7 hints a little more at the game's story, showing a girl without glasses whose skin is peeling away like paper. A note saying, "I hate myself," is clearly visible on her forehead, and the only other legible word is Minger on her cheek. The word Minger is British slang for an unattractive person, hinting that this new Silent Hill may be set in Europe, rather than the town's vague North American origins. Dusk Golem also mentioned the names Anita and Maya, noted that SMS messages were relevant somehow, and that this was not the only Silent Hill game in development. For a short time this seemed like all the fans would get, but this leak opened the channels for everyone with Silent Hill intel to talk. Since the images went live and were subsequently removed, the fan base has once again been discussing who could possibly offer up a successful continuation of the Silent Hill franchise. Many suspect that layers of Fear Studio Bloober Team could take the helm, but some are concerned about this. While the medium is decent, but some feel that the developer is unable to accurately depict sensitive topics, such as mental illness. It's no secret that Silent Hill is considered one of the best psychological horror games around, especially the 2001 sequel. With the loss of the Kojima del Toro project several years back, there has been a gap that we have been hoping would get filled. A couple other projects have been detailed by various sources. The leaks show that the burgeoning horror adventure studio Bloober Team is allegedly working on a Silent Hill 2 remake. This is said to be a timed PlayStation console exclusive, and will feature reworked puzzles, altered AI, new animations, and even several new endings. It sounds like this game could be a Final Fantasy VII Remake-style reimagining of Silent Hill 2, but we will have to wait and see. Either way, this rumor also lines up with the existing links between Bloober Team and Konami. Around the release of Bloober Team's most recent game The Medium, the Polish developer announced a collaboration with Konami. This came after the studio's CEO claimed it was working on an existing horror IP from a noteworthy publisher. Silent Hill's iconic composer Akira Yamaoka worked on The Medium, and teased his next project by noting that it's one his fans have been waiting to hear about. Even The Medium itself draws parallels to Silent Hill's otherworld mechanic, making it come off like a proof of concept to seal the company's deal. It seems that if Konami's cancelled E3 2021 showcase came to pass, it would have brought a great many Silent Hill titles to bear. The narrative fans pieced together regarding Konami claims that after the Japanese publisher refocused on its gutted gaming division, it couldn't develop many projects by itself. While it released some smaller games and updates to the public, Konami secretly reached its feelers into the game industry at large, looking for any studio that could work with its acclaimed IPs. Past rumors have indicated that Until Dawn Studio Supermassive was one of these studios, and its pitch for an episodic Silent Hill title evolved into the Dark Pictures anthology. However, that game concept was not abandoned. A small, episodic series of short stories set in the Silent Hill universe may be coming from Annapurna Interactive. What this project is and who is working on it is unclear, given that Annapurna Interactive is a publisher and may have just another name that pitched an idea to Konami. Internally named Sakura, this is to be released as a free digital title to build anticipation for either the next mainline Silent Hill or multiple Silent Hill projects. The reports also mentions that, according to its sources, a brand new entry in the Silent Hill franchise is in development at a Japanese studio, though details remain scarce on that front, and also the abandoned guys that are circling around. All of this comes after Silent Hill images leaked online. They were pulled via DMCA, suggesting that the images are legitimate and representative of a future Silent Hill project. According to a recent interview with IGN, in which CEO of Bloober Team Piotr Babiena wishes to not make any comment about the Silent Hill 2 remake rumors, adding that the studio wishes to remain in good stead with its partners. However, he did say that there will be an announcement about a currently unannounced project soon, and insists that whatever game the developer releases will still be a Bloober Team title. The partnership that Babiena is referring to is most likely in reference to the relationship between Bloober Team and Konami, which was announced last summer. Since then, rumors about a possible new entry in the Silent Hill franchise have remained just below the surface of gaming discourse, and it feels like these latest theories and leaks could be the closest thing that the fanbase has had to any solid evidence since speculations began. Given that Bloober has evidently taken a lot of inspiration from the Konami-owned IP for its own games, a modern reimagining of the 2001 sequel seems like something Babiena and the rest of the team would jump at the chance to take on. Of course, there have been plenty of Silent Hill rumors in the past, so some may be holding back any excitement, but this feels like the first bout of speculations that could lead somewhere. I would like them to do from the beginning, from Silent Hill 1 to all the games, but they have decided to tackle the most popular one. Our involvement from Hideo Kojima could be a possibility, as Sony should have made some moves with Konami. Whatever the truth is behind all of these rumors and leaks, it seems likely that Konami is ramping up towards a revival for its classic franchises. Hopefully, Silent Hill is coming back with a vengeance, and it brings Metal Gear and Castlevania along with it. A lot is already known about PlayStation VR 2, such as its design, along with descriptions of the system's specs and new features. However, a release date for the system remains elusive. Though many expected the VR system to release around the end of 2022, now rumors suggest the release of PlayStation VR 2 will fall into 2023. This was originally guessed to be due to a supply line delay, but new patents filed by Sony suggest it is still adding to the software of the system. Sony has already announced that PSVR 2 will have eye tracking which follows the player's line of sight and should alter the focus of the game world accordingly. Known as foveated rendering, not only should this improve player immersion, but also reduce processing strain on the system by not requiring the whole scene to be kept in focus. A new patent filed by Sony now suggests that this eye tracking feature on PlayStation VR 2 could feed into a machine learning system that is programmed to figure out where in a scene a player is most likely to look first. The system would then dedicate processing power to render that area first. If this works, it should render large scenes in such a way that the player wearing the VR headset doesn't even notice, as they will have naturally looked towards the area that has been rendered first. It is unknown yet if this Sony patent will be used within the development of the games themselves or simply as a trick to disguise rendering times from the player. Depending on the game, however, it could be used as a subtle way to guide the player through a level by using their own eye's focus. This could be especially helpful in a highly paced section of a game, such as in a chase sequence. Developers of more immersive single-player games often use different audio or visual clues in the environment to guide players through the game world. One of the most common developer tricks is having the player naturally follow light sources such as street lamps or making interactive objects a distinct color. Some games are so good at this that the player may not even be aware they are being led in a particular direction by the game. VR arguably makes for the most immersive gaming experiences already, and a system like the eye tracking for PSVR 2 could replace these tricks by guiding players only by bringing focus to certain directions, even if the player isn't looking at them. This would make the correct path always stand out in the player's peripheral vision. Using the patent like this could suggest a real step up in technical capabilities of games coming to PlayStation VR 2. Speaking of tech, one company is making strides towards solving the joystick drift issues plaguing modern controllers today, including the infamous Joy-Con controllers. In recent years, video game controllers have suffered from an issue players commonly refer to as joystick drift. Almost every current major console on the market has a controller known to deal with drift after numerous hours of playtime, and this has resulted in major frustration among many fans. However, this problem is close to being solved thanks to Gulikit, a company that has reportedly developed a joystick that hardly ever drifts. Gulikit describes itself on its website as a design-based brand of gaming accessories. While its technology can be found on all sorts of controllers, the company itself focuses on the Nintendo Switch by making products such as fast charge cables, power banks, and more for Nintendo's popular console. The latest controller it's released has been known as the King Kong 2 Pro controller, which features some new joystick technology inside. In an interview with WePC, business director for Jack, he goes into detail about Gulikit's new electromagnetic hall sensing joysticks. This new technology uses magnets to make sure that the sensors in the joysticks don't touch and therefore don't scratch each other when in use. This makes sure that the stick doesn't deteriorate as fast as current controller sticks do, to where Gulikit is confident enough to advertise its latest controllers with a promise that they have no drift ever. Jack he also states in the WePC interview that the electromagnetic joystick came around as the designers at Gulikit aimed to create a solution for the well-known Joy-Con drift problem with the Nintendo Switch's controllers. Halfway through the process towards making a version for the small devices, Gulikit had finished creating a larger version that would fit in many other controllers, such as its own Pro controllers. While Gulikit mainly focuses on Switch-related products, this is great news for all kinds of gamers, as Xbox and PlayStation controllers are known to drift as well, even if it isn't as common as the drift seen with Nintendo's Joy-Cons. Jack he has also said that Gulikit aims to share its discovery with other gaming companies, meaning these new joysticks may soon be rather commonplace in things such as Nintendo's potential next console. However, these controllers are not flawless. The company has had its new controllers tested, and while the margin of error is considerably small compared to the competition, Gulikit is aware that while its controllers may last longer, they may eventually drift given enough time. The hall sensing joysticks also require a chip that's hard to find due to the tech industry's current hardware shortage, but it seems new controllers that are easier on both casual and hardcore gamers are soon to be on their way from Gulikit in the future. Moving forward, we have some random topics to discuss about. E3 2022 is cancelled, but it doesn't mean the gaming industry isn't going to have all kinds of reveals and special events this summer. In fact, Game Awards host Jeff Keighley is bringing back Summer Game Fest as a way for developers and publishers to showcase their upcoming games and make big announcements. Summer Game Fest 2022 now has a date, and it will also be viewable in IMAX. Jeff Keighley confirmed that Summer Game Fest 2022 will take place on Thursday, June 9th at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, and it will be screened in select IMAX theaters for full-scale immersion. Not only that, but it was also confirmed that the Game Awards 2022 will air in IMAX this December as well. Gamers will still be able to watch both events from the comfort of their homes, but those who want a more impressive presentation can watch them in IMAX. The video accompanying the IMAX announcement for Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards includes a sizzle reel of various games, but fans shouldn't read too much into it. Some of the games shown in the reel are from Software's Elden Ring, which famously had its big gameplay reveal at last year's Summer Game Fest, as well Gotham Knights, but that doesn't mean any of these games will actually have an appearance at either event. June is actually packed with gaming showcases like the aforementioned Fest, Xbox and Bethesda Games Showcase, and hopefully a PlayStation event around the same time. Dead Space remains one of the most iconic horror game releases in gaming. Even as the Dead Space franchise shifted away from horror in favor of action, the legacy of the original Dead Space hasn't been lost. It's no surprise then that 13 years later, Electronic Arts is going back to its roots with a Dead Space remake developed by Motive Studios. Delivering a remake that honors the original takes time, though, which is why Motive's taking its time. The Dead Space remake now has a release date, and as previously confirmed, it won't be in 2022. In an announcement from Motive, the release date for Dead Space is now confirmed to be January 27, 2023. Motive promises that the remake will deliver on the original Dead Space's thrilling vision by reimagining its visuals and enhancing audio. As previously announced, the Dead Space remake will be coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S, skipping the last generation of consoles in order to focus on delivering the best experience possible, but the Series S is definitely gonna hold the game back. The announcement of the Dead Space remake's release date arrives as the team at Motive continues to make great progress, according to senior producer Philippe Ducharme. Ducharme explains that Motive has brought the Dead Space remake to an alpha state, meaning the game is playable and includes all major features. That likely explains why Motive felt confident announcing a release date for Dead Space. It may be somewhat of a long way off, but Motive will be working to make the wait worth it. In addition to the release date announcement for the Dead Space remake, Motive also shared an extended amount of footage as part of an art stream. The footage includes looks at visual effects like fog, smoke, and pyrotechnics, along with environmental art and design for Dead Space, character model improvements, and lighting effects. Dead Space is a big opportunity for Motive's art team to show off its talents, and the footage shared today shows Motive is embracing it. One thing that's clear from today's Dead Space footage is that Motive is investing heavily in the visuals of the remake. That's both exciting for the remake itself, as well as what Motive will be working on next. It's possible that Dead Space is just the first step in Motive's plans, with an original game to follow. Perhaps Motive may even make its own Dead Space sequel. A January release date for the Dead Space remake is somewhat curious. January is a month that historically is passed over by major game releases. Whether that means Electronic Arts intends to capitalize on the lesser amount of competition in early 2023, or if it's unsure how the market will respond to the Dead Space remake, it will be interesting to see play out. Speaking of upcoming games, in a joint announcement, Codemasters confirms it is co-developing the next Need for Speed title alongside the team at Criterion Games. Electronic Arts' Need for Speed franchise has been on a bit of a hiatus these past couple of years, as the publisher looks to retool and restore the racing series back to its glory years. The last few releases were handled by Ghost Games, a Swedish studio originally established as the lead developer on the Need for Speed franchise starting in 2013. While the games did find a fanbase, all three titles were met with mixed and average reviews, ultimately not living up to EA's lofty expectations. In fact, Need for Speed Heat was the final game with Ghost Games as the lead developer. Following the game's launch in 2019, Ghost Games was downsized, renamed back to EA Gothenburg, and made into an engineering support studio with a focus on the Frostbite engine. The Need for Speed franchise was handed over to Criterion Games, a studio with a long line of racing experience thanks to the Burnout franchise and more recent work on Need for Speed Hot Pursuit and Most Wanted. However, a new opportunity seemingly appeared in 2021 when EA purchased Codemasters, creators of iconic racing franchises like Dirt, F1, Grid, and Colin McRae Rally. As expected, Electronic Arts has quickly shuffled the newly acquired Codemasters onto the Need for Speed franchise. In a joint announcement on Twitter, Codemasters confirmed that its Cheshire studio is currently working on the next Need for Speed alongside Criterion. In fact, Codemasters Cheshire and Criterion are merging to become one Criterion studio with two location hubs to help facilitate development. The announcement continues by saying that the integration builds off of the close working partnership the two studios already share and that the unification and combined experience will help build a better racing experience for the Need for Speed fanbase. Responses to the news seem to be mixed, with those hopeful the franchise can return to its former glory, with others not too convinced. Unfortunately, no other details were provided, but it sounds like work on the next Need for Speed is in the early stages as these two studios come together. For now, fans continue to rely on rumors and leaks, a few of which have recently surfaced. While still unconfirmed, recent rumors suggest that the next Need for Speed will be next-gen only and feature anime-style elements. While that may be a surprising twist for the franchise, the visuals will remain photorealistic. It will also incorporate anime-style highlights and flair, such as cartoon flames, to accentuate the action on screen. It has long been thought that Titanfall 3 is far off, with some even wondering if the third game in the popular franchise will ever arrive. However, at least one retailer is showing signs that there might not have to be that long a wait for Titanfall 3 after all. Despite Titanfall being quite popular, Respawn just hasn't appeared to be all that excited about resurrecting the series despite the fact that Titanfall 2 was released almost 6 years ago. Instead of a third game in the franchise, the company released Apex Legends, which is tied into the previous two games' worlds, though there isn't any sort of mech battles available at the moment. There is certainly enough public demand for a third game, but that demand has seemingly fallen on deaf ears. However, if one retailer has it right, it's possible that all the comments about a lack of work on such a game could have been an impressive misdirect. In recent days, something rather surprising has been popping up in GameStop stores across Germany. Over on Reddit, one user posted a picture of a placeholder box for Titanfall 3. Other users soon chimed in, saying they were given the option to pre-order the game at several GameStops all over the country. Considering that most people have thought that Respawn's work in the Star Wars video game universe meant no Titanfall 3 for quite some time, the ability to pre-order the game has certainly surprised some. The option to pre-order seems to be confirmed in the picture, considering that the text directly below the placeholder box translates to pre-order now. It should be pointed out that the other placeholder boxes featured in the picture on Reddit are games that have either been confirmed as coming at some point even if a release date hasn't been announced, as is the case for FIFA 23, God of War Ragnarok and others. The question that comes to mind at this point is why GameStops in Germany are currently the only stores hinting that Titanfall 3 is coming soon enough that it would be worth pre-ordering. It's of course possible that someone is just wanting to get their foot in the door for if and when the next installment is announced. There's no indication the retailer is telling people when they can expect to actually receive the game, after all. The move is still a strange one given Respawn's apparent attitude towards the series. While Titanfall and Titanfall 2 are still incredibly popular among a certain sector of the video game community, Respawn seems to be moving in the opposite direction of a new release, as it even took the extra step of removing the original Titanfall from online retail shelves. For now, all fans can do is hope that this box art is a sign of something to come as opposed to a mistake. Speaking of EA, after 30 years of collaboration, EA Sports has split with FIFA and will rebrand its world-renowned soccer/football franchise to EA Sports FC. When people say FIFA, they would think of one of two things: the governing body of world soccer or the soccer video game. The two have become ubiquitous with the FIFA name. However, a seismic shift in the video game world and the cultural lexicon is about to take place as Electronic Arts is ending partnership with FIFA. The yearly soccer games will be rebranding into EA Sports FC. In a press release announcing the rebranding, Cam Weber, executive vice president at EA Sports, celebrated the 30 history of the franchise and spoke of a new era that the developer wants to take global football experiences to new heights. He also assured fans that all of the franchise's best-known game modes like Ultimate Team, Career Mode, Volta, and more will remain with EA Sports FC in this new future, as well as its partnerships with the world's biggest soccer leagues like Premier League, Bundesliga, MLS, La Liga, and over 300 other license partners. The possibility of EA and FIFA separating has been speculated for some time, with the two entities publicly at odds over negotiating new business arrangements. There were earlier reports that Electronic Arts trademarked the EA Sports FC title, with the possibilities ranging from being a new game mode, a free-to-play mode, or, as today's announcement confirms, a franchise rebrand. Then the FIFA governing body was rumored to be asking for $1 billion every 4 years for EA to have permission to emblazon the FIFA name and logo across the box. FIFA was also reported to be looking into expanding its direct reach into the digital spaces like esports and NFTs on its own. Soccer video games are going through a bit of a shakeup as the free-to-play UFL looks to enter the market and has secured brand and likeness rights to players like Cristiano Ronaldo and clubs like Borussia Mönchengladbach and West Ham United. Konami's rebranded eFootball series is also free-to-play but has had major issues transitioning to the new model. EA Sports FC will still be the lead game in the mix, but wades into uncharted territory looking for a new identity. It will be interesting to see how much of the licenses to teams and player likenesses EA will be able to retain without direct FIFA input, though it's been said that things of that nature are agreed upon through a different agreement and may be mixed in somewhere with the 300 license partners EA claimed it is going forward. EA Sports and FIFA have officially ended their partnership that brought gamers one of the most successful franchises. With both FIFA and EA still promising to deliver on FIFA 23, the future of the soccer games is now up in the air, with EA committing to EA Sports FC and FIFA planning on releasing games with different publishers. With this big shakeup, fans are expecting EA to revamp its gaming franchise and are hoping that FIFA's next title will compete with EA's dominance. Losing FIFA may seem like a big loss for EA Sports, however, the publisher is only really losing out on releasing future World Cup or Euro Championship games. After FIFA 23 EA will change the name of its annual release soccer game to EA Sports FC and will not need to rename the players, teams, or stadiums as it will retain those licenses. While the change of name does not look like it will have much of an impact, it can lead to massive changes to the EA Sports formula and give fans a unique experience. EA Sports FC will need to start making significant changes to start competing with future FIFA titles that will be released from 2023 onwards. Luckily for EA Sports, it has the experience and foundation to make these changes and a loyal fan base that is unlikely to jump ship. However, given the disappointment regarding the lackluster recent releases, FIFA has a chance to snatch away much of the player base if its games promise to deliver everything that fans have been asking for. FIFA will always be much larger than the gaming franchise that has given soccer fans a chance to experience playing as their favorite players. The brand name itself will undoubtedly attract a huge player base, and the relationship that FIFA shares with the players and teams of the game means that it has a way to create a more realistic game. Over the last few years, FIFA titles have been criticized for focusing on monetary gain rather than the offline game modes, and this will need to be something that FIFA needs to change. FIFA's biggest obstacle will be getting out of EA's shadows, as much of the publisher's success came from the franchise. While FIFA will have no trouble finding a new publisher, ensuring that its new games will not be copies of EA Sports FC will be a challenge. Introducing new game modes, focusing on the offline modes that have been lacking, and providing exciting gameplay will be a difficult feat, but is possible with the right partnership. Furthermore, with UFL setting itself up to shake up the genre, FIFA will need to compete against a promising upcoming game and a publisher with the expertise to put out good games. The sports gaming genre has had a lot of big publishers over the years, from Yuka's, which released the popular SmackDown vs. Raw series, and even Konami's PS. However, in more recent years, EA Sports and 2K Sports have risen as the giants in the genre, so losing one of their biggest franchises could have a huge impact on the future of the genre. However, when it seems more likely that the publishers will simply trade these licenses, it is hard to see these industry giants falling. EA Sports now has an opportunity to seal a deal with WWE, something it has already attempted to get in the past, while 2K Sports could pick up the biggest sports game brand on the market. So, if FIFA does decide to move over to 2K Sports, it could create a great competing market for soccer games and revitalize the rivalry that EA Sports had when competing against PS. It was during that era that FIFA titles started adding features that excited fans and released some of the best titles in the franchise. The competing climate will likely force both EA Sports and FIFA to put out the best games possible, which is a major win for fans. EA Sports losing the FIFA license may not be as impactful as it seems, but it has the potential to revitalize the landscape of soccer games. Both EA and FIFA will need to put in a lot of work in creating new games and attracting fans. With FIFA 23 marking the end of an era, the dissolution of the EA Sports FIFA partnership may be exactly what the fans need to get the games that will perfectly encapsulate their desires. Whatever the case may be, the future of the soccer gaming genre seems to be filled with hope and competition that can usher in revolutionary games and tons of content for fans. As EA Sports transitions to a new era of soccer gaming, FIFA is striking its own chord by seeking new third-party developers to work with. Rumors are coming to the surface that FIFA plans to work on future soccer games, along with other non-simulation games, with some already in the works and set for an announcement in the third quarter of 2022. While the high price tag to retain the FIFA brand is ultimately the issue that created the rift between the two companies, FIFA President Gianni Infantino promises that the new brand of soccer gaming that will likely take the world by storm will contain the FIFA brand. Alongside the plans for multiple non-simulation projects out of FIFA, it has also granted EA a short-term extension to launch a new FIFA 23 title later this year, which plans to feature both the men's and women's FIFA World Cup competitions at the same time. EA has also claimed it has deals in place with the English Premier League and UEFA for future installments of its EA Sports FC branding. The new extension with EA Sports grants rights for the simulation football category only, allowing FIFA and any third-party gaming developers to produce and launch new games that are non-sports related. Arguably EA Sports' biggest rivals, 2K Sports have found massive success with franchises like NBA 2K and WWE 2K, with its most recent installments being some of the best games released by the publisher. While 2K Sports have not had an easy road, They have proven that even if they release a game that fans are not happy with, they are able to turn it around and make significant changes to ensure that each game gives fans exactly what they are looking for. This was most noticeable with WWE 2K22, where 2K Sports decided to take a year off from the annual release schedule to ensure the game was good for players. The recent FIFA titles have been plagued with issues put forward by the fans, particularly regarding the offline game modes. 2K Sports have proven that they are not only capable of making great games, but will also do whatever it takes to ensure the best game is released. Where EA Sports faltered in the last decade, 2K Sports can shine through, thanks to its innovative methods and its ability to ensure that only the best product will be released. Having a publisher that is not afraid to skip a title to resolve any issues is never a bad thing, after all. Sony is one of the biggest names in gaming, and is known for releasing some of the greatest exclusives in each console generation. While working with San Diego studios on MLB The Show, Sony has proven that it is capable of publishing sports games that are both entertaining and great to look at. A Sony FIFA partnership could shake up the sports gaming genre. Sony Interactive Entertainment also has the backing of numerous developers that have consistently put out fantastic games thanks to its in-house talent. Gaining the FIFA partnership would also mean that the game will likely become a PlayStation exclusive, meaning games could be developed with the capabilities of the PlayStation 5 in mind. The focus on next-gen games and the brilliant track record that Sony has in publishing games makes them a good match for the FIFA license, as they already have a partnership with FIFA outside of gaming already, and also PlayStation is the dominant brand in Europe, which puts Sony in a better place than the others. Whatever the case may be, FIFA's next publisher will have to come out of the gate swinging to maintain the massive fan base around soccer games. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then, from SMPV, it's goodbye.